What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Thursday, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to do this yesterday, but I realized that more information was coming from Mr. Matt Laslo at Ascapol. Subscribe to Ascapol. He's been doing some amazing work. I think he took a little time to get together the exclusives that were coming, the next batch, and it's coming out now. And we can see the reactions of congresspeople who are part of the UAP Caucus, Luna and the other congressperson that I'm going to show you. Of course, they react to these types of drops. So let's see Luna. Remember, subscribe to Ascapol right now.
How are you, ma'am? Did you see that Wall Street Journal article?
No.
You haven't seen it yet?
Is it the one that said that the Pentagon is responsible for the fake UFO campaign?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, especially based on what you guys heard at the FBI.
So my thing is that I don't actually like the work that Arrow has done. I think that Arrow's done a really terrible job.
Yeah.
And I think that there's other agencies that have done way better jobs and have been more transparent. And I think that we need to save money, and Arrow is a part of that problem. So.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because a lot of that seemed like it came from Kirkpatrick.
Oh, yeah,
and
100%. I actually would completely disagree, and I think that they're, based on the testimony and the evidence, videos, and photos I've seen, I think that they're incorrect in their analysis, and I think that it's also pretty sad that they would try to gaslight millions of Americans.
Yeah.
So.
Does this change the direction of where you want to go with the next public hearing?
No.
She says no. You guys got to remember that Congresswoman Luna is the leading voice of the classification task force, and she is the one calling the shots here. She doesn't have subpoena power. Nobody from the UAP Caucus does, but I think that maybe after this article and the resolve that she seems to have, she just confirmed when a potential new hearing is coming, and it is going to be right after July 4th. And it couldn't come any faster, if you ask me. The way the world is going right now, things are getting concerning for me, at least. But hear this.
No. Any expectation on when that might be?
Yeah, we're actually working on getting the dates for that, but we're thinking after the July 4th weekend.
Oh, nice. So before August.
Yeah. And there's some other stuff. Remember, we had our SCIF briefing. I'm trying to get some other members back into the SCIF.
That's right.
There are some people that were not there that are a part of the task force that have asked to see the information, to include some of the Democrats. So.
Have you heard from any of those, like whistleblowers, since that article came out? No. Cool. I'll be watching. You have a good one, ma'am.
Thank you, Matt Laslo. Subscribe to Ascapol. But I also want to show you Representative Eric Burlison, who, as you guys know, he's also been very, very involved and very active talking about UFOs. So here's Representative Burlison, and listen to his reaction to the Wall Street Journal article.
Burlison. Hey, how are you?
Good. Hey,
did you catch that Wall Street Journal piece?
I did.
What do you make of it?
Well, you remember, that was my original worldview. And that is that's probably what he's saying is probably the case. I think it's the most likely scenario.
Interesting. But that kind of seems at odds with your guys' conversation with the FBI, with their unit. What do you think? They're all just siloed.
So I would say, I do think that the people that provided information for that article did not have a full picture of everything that's going on.
Yeah, right.
They do not. They absolutely, and there's no way they could. But at the end of the day, I think they don't have the full picture. And I think that some of the things that were mentioned in there were exaggerated because you can't tell me that there's a widespread hazing activity within the Air Force. That it's like pervasive on that top, and there's that program that Yankee Blue. I'm gonna have to look into that and see if that it actually was a fake SAP. But no, when I talked to Grush, he said that's ridiculous. He would have heard of that. He's never heard of that.
Interesting.
So Burlison did ask David Grush what he thought about the article, and Grush said that that operation does not exist. That's interesting. Um, so essentially, what Burleson is saying that this program, if it is a thing, if it did exist, and it wasn't acknowledged by David Grush, he didn't know about it, then it must be illegal. I think that's what Burleson says.
When it seems like, yes, they could have done that. And then there also could be a separate program. Like, that doesn't seem mutually exclusive with.
Yeah. I just think that, if anything, what they just admitted is that the federal government's, I mean, that they are absolutely lying and deceiving the American people.
Yeah, right? And that.
Either way.
Yeah. And when you guys go and have your next hearing, do you think focused on some of this?
Yeah, I'm going to be looking into seeing like were there any laws violated in some of this deception.
Yeah.
In these efforts, because you can't, like, the story of the individual who went to a bar and handed photos or whatever it was. How is that not illegal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
They do agree that they don't like the article. I think that Luna is saying that the entire piece is BS, and Burleson is saying that some parts are true, but he doesn't think others are. I would bet money that he means the parts that were exaggerated were the ones about the nuclear energy or nuclear weapons incidents in the 60s, specifically about Bob Salas, because that's who this article talks about. And I was happy to hear that Congresswoman Luna is moving forward with a hearing after the July 4th weekend. That's good news. We were waiting for that one. So what I want to know now is a couple of things. Both are related to Matthew Brown. One is Matthew Brown going to be part of this upcoming hearing? I would very much like to hear from him. And based on all the cryptic messaging that he's releasing to the public, I also want to ask him a few questions, though, specifically aimed at this occult kind of messaging that there seems to be in some of the stuff that he has shared publicly. I would like to know if there's more people like him who have seen some of this material, have been exposed to it, and what made them sort of fall in those categories to explore. Because what Matthew Brown thinks about and the hints that he throws, like his handle on Twitter or that picture of the Enochian language and all that stuff, it kind of ties into some of the stuff that Tom DeLonge has been talking about for so long. And Peter Levenda wrote in that book with Tom, Secret Machines. There seems to be a connection there. So yeah, of course, I know where a lot of this comes from. It's Hermeticism and esotericism. Yeah, but why are you interested in that specifically when it comes to UFO disclosure? Is there a link really to it? Or is it possible that some of these stories from ancient scripture, for example, may have been interpreted in a certain way based on the people's beliefs at the time? Because they did see something really incredible. They just interpret it that way, but it's not exactly that. It's something else. So there could be some reality to that. I don't know. I am completely out of the loop in anything that has to do with angels, demons, and all this stuff. But I have seen people like, for example, Dr. Dana Pasolka, Dr. Jacques Vallée, and other people at the very top of this who kind of allude that they do believe that angels or demons could be associated with this. There's a really good clip of Diana Pasolka. I think it's Joe Rogan or Danny Jones. I think she said it in both, maybe, where she goes to Jacques Vallée's house and she sees a couple of books. One that says angels in the cover and the other one that says demons. I want to know where that comes from, because it's not that I don't believe. I don't know what to believe. And a lot of this stuff, I did grow up a Catholic, and people around me, my family members, do believe in angels, but this is an entirely different context of angels. This is supposed to be real stuff, according to some people that do believe this is real. I want to know more about it. What makes them think it's real? And obviously, there's this gut reaction from people who are heavily, heavily scientific, who absolutely reject these ideas. I also want to know from them, what makes you reject such ideas? Do you think it just has to do with religious dogma? Or do you think there's something else? Do you think they did experience something and saw things, and even had at certain points the idea that there were some beings that were confused by gods? Maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of lore talking about this. So I want to know. And I know that if a hearing happens and Matt Brown is there, he's not going to talk about that. I know that for sure. But I would love to hear him talk about this stuff and where his beliefs come from and all that. That would be really cool. Something similar to what Tom DeLonge himself did when he was on all those radio shows between like 2014 and 2016 or 2017. And he just talked about everything.
Around the time of the ancient Greek civilization, these gods came in and they passed down a huge amount of knowledge. That's when we got the alphabet, and that's when we really got into all the mathematics and everything that we know that comes with the ancient Greek civilization. I put down a question where I said, it looks to me that these gods came down here and they tampered with the Sumerian civilization, and then they started fighting amongst themselves, and then mankind started to factionalize. Well, something happened with those gods fighting other gods, that we have all those ancient myths of Olympus and the Titans and all of that stuff. After that, it seems to me that the gods stuck around and they started playing up the different religions between mankind. So we can now be so entertained fighting each other that this intelligence can roam around the planet to do whatever else it is it's trying to do, whether it's trying to tamper with the DNA of mankind, or it's trying to figure out how to harness a human being's soul, whatever it might be after, I'm not totally sure. Everything in those early advisory group communications were fine, but when I touched on the idea of hybrids in the human soul is when all the communication stopped on that thread. So I have to look at that as something that I shouldn't have been going into at the time.
It would be cool if we could hear Matt going on every show and just tell his story and talk about everything he's learned over the years. That'd be really cool. But until then, I want to hear your opinion about this reaction from Congress to the Wall Street Journal article. What do you think about the new hearings that are coming after July 4th? Let me know in the comments. And what do you think about this seemingly esoteric kind of side of UFO disclosure? Do you think there's something to it? Do you think there's not? Let me know in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. If you only do that, it costs you a few seconds and it's free. And it is what helps us the most. So thank you for your help. But if you want to support us in any other way, I'm going to leave a few links in the description. You can take your pick. You can become a member, or you can support us on KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated. So thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive always. Bye.